Greg, a lot of positive things last Friday night in Champaign. Let's start right away off the bat with the running of Mikhail Wilbon. Right away, that running set up that first touchdown drive with that touchdown pass to DeMornay Pearson-Hill.
It sure did. I was really pleased in the first half with Nebraska's efficiency offensively. They really had it going, a good mix of run and pass. And Wilbon's done a really nice job filling in for Trey Bryant the last couple of games. And it shows that Mike Roddy wasn't crying wolf back in August. And when he talked about how close that running back race was, that he felt like he had three really solid backs. And we saw Trey Bryant the first couple of weeks run crazy, and we're like, oh, come on, that's clearly the guy. And then Wilbon's done a nice job, and then Zigbo's done a good job. But the efficiency in the first half against Illinois was really fun to see because it was, I mean, they didn't punt that whole first half. 3 drives, 3 touchdowns.
And the defense gave up some yards at a few different stages of the game, but limited Illinois to field goals. And it's time now to give this defense some due, isn't it, Greg?
Absolutely. I mean, you just go, they bent that first drive as Illinois had a good mix of run and pass, and that zone read was giving Nebraska some trouble. And I think we even talked about it last week on your show, is that it was the first time Nebraska had seen a mobile quarterback. Mm-hmm. And they had a little bit of trouble adjusting to it, but once they did, they locked it in. And those red zone defensive stands, that was really a key to the football game last week for Nebraska. So, the first 30 minutes of that football game was about as solid as this team has played all year long, both sides of the ball.
And also solid Tanner Lee throwing the ball with confidence and getting protection as well and then setting up in a Zigbo touchdown run.
Sure was. I mean, the offensive line gave him a nice pocket. He stood in there, fired the football, and I think he would be the first to say that it was really nice to have number 8 back on the field for him. Mm-hmm. And then Stanley Morgan, that big target. Now, Stanley had a couple of drops, but boy, when he made the catches, he was doing something with it afterwards as well. And so, yeah, it looks different. The picture looks different with Stanley Morgan on the field for Nebraska.
And gives them some other options as well, because a lot of the defense is going to focus on Stanley. So you got guys like Tyler Hoppus getting involved, and anytime Nebraska gets the tight end involved, good things seem to happen.
First touchdown catch of the year by that position, and Hoppus has had quite a few catches already, but first time he found the end zone. So that was nice to see. And DeMornay had a good mix in there as well, and it was a really solid half. I mean, I just remember Matt and I saying on the broadcast as we approached halftime, this was fun because the offense was firing, the defense was getting stops, special teams was solid, so it was just a really solid half of football.
21-6 in the second half, and you just don't want to give the Illini any kind of momentum at all, and then Ozigbo puts the ball on the ground, and then it's up to the defense to get some stops, and they do with some good quarterback pressure.
Yep. I mean, Illinois had a nice drive, got it down there. The defense stops again and holds it to a 3-point field goal, but then you kind of felt like, okay, Illinois got a little momentum, and Devine puts it on the turf. And that was Nebraska's first fumble as a team, surrendered all year long. And so, but then the defense pushes them back, allows no points off the turnover, and you could kind of feel the air go out of the Illinois balloon at that point in time. They're like, okay, not going to be our day. I will say, as fun as the first half was, and as efficient as the first half was, it wasn't that case in the second half of the offense. They just had the one drive, and people will remember on that drive, Illinois should have had an interception, and Hoppus got his hand in there and ripped the ball away from the linebacker, or that drive would not have ended in points for Nebraska. So a little disappointed that the offense didn't perform at as high a level as they did in the first half and half number 2.
But then Stanley Morgan with a nice highlight reel, one of the longest stiff arms we're going to see in all of college football.
Wasn't that a thing of beauty?
That was something.
Wow, when you do that. I don't know how he scored.
Yeah.
I remember watching that play develop. I'm like, well, he's not going to score. It's going to be a nice game for Nebraska. But then he tight-roped the sideline, stiff-armed a guy. I thought Illinois probably had a defensive back not take a very good angle, and he ends up in the end zone. But we'll take it.
All right, so I know it's Rutgers and Illinois, but it's 2 wins, and it's 2 wins that you see the momentum building, you see the confidence building, and so it's nothing but positives at this point, isn't it?
Right, and that's exactly what you needed. I mean, after the Northern Illinois loss, you weren't sure where this thing was going to go. And then take it a step further after the pick 6 in the third quarter of the Rutgers game where they take the lead. You're really not sure where this thing is going to go. But, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, that group feels really good about themselves, and they're going to get helped out with the return of some players. Joshua Kalu is going to play in this game tomorrow night. Chris Jones is back, and Mike Rowdy said yesterday he's going to play. Not sure how much, but he's going to play. And so you get a couple of big-time players, seniors, good football players, good Big Ten football players back. That side of the ball's got a good feel about it, and I like that matchup, actually, in this game against the Illini tomorrow night.
What about the injury situation on the offensive side? Because it's a little bit more of a mixed bag there.
Yeah, it is. Bryant will not play. That's disappointing. And, I think we maybe haven't been told the whole story on that knee because it's now been over a month.
Yeah.
I mean, it was September the 9th that he got hurt against Oregon. He hasn't even practiced, let alone play. And so now you're looking at tomorrow being October the 7th, and so still not playing. That's disappointing. And now Mikhail Wilbon has not practiced all week long with a sprained ankle. So now a deep running back room is down to two. It's going to be Divine Azigbo and Jalen Bradley being the 1 and 2 for this game tomorrow. The offensive line has gotten healthier. David Neville can play tomorrow, and so can Cole Conrad. But Mike Riley said after practice yesterday they're going to start the game at least with the same 5 that have played the last 2 weeks.
So the Freedom Trophy up for grabs, the Badgers coming in, and Nebraska fans immediately get a chill down their spine when you talk about the Badgers because they have put the hurt on Nebraska with some of these games over the years, but the last few games have been much more competitive with Wisconsin.
Yeah, and those hurt too. I mean, those hurt maybe even more because, 2 years ago in Lincoln, it was the last-second field goal. After a field goal with a couple of minutes to go in the game clanged off the upright, you felt like you avoided disaster, but the Husker offense couldn't move the ball, and Wisconsin came right back down and got in position to win it, and they did. And then last year, the overtime game in Madison with the Huskers riding high at 7-0, 2 nationally ranked teams, good football game. And in fact, the both games have been really good football games between these two, and I think that's why there's some optimism in the Husker camp that it's going to be a really tightly contested game again tomorrow.
And Wisconsin's scoring a bunch of points, 41 a game. They average 7 yards per play, but they are banged up on offense, especially missing their top receiving threat.
Yeah, Troy Fumagalli, and who I'm told has practiced some this week. So if you practice, my guess is you're going to play.
Okay.
That's a big weapon for them to get back. Wisconsin does what Wisconsin does, and that's run the football and then mix some play action off of that. They don't ask the quarterback to go and win them the game, but make the plays when they're there, and Fumagalli is a big weapon for Hornibrook to throw to. But this freshman, Jonathan Taylor, the running back, my goodness, is this guy impressive. He leads the Big Ten Conference in rushing. No, not Saquon Barkley at Penn State. It's Jonathan Taylor at Wisconsin. He's a load. He's powerful. He's strong. He's got speed. He will be a tough test for Bob Diaco's defense in this game tomorrow.
130 yards a game. He weighs 214 pounds. That's why he's so tough to bring down. We mentioned those 7 yards a play they're averaging, and it's not surprising when you average 7 yards a play, you're the best in the Big Ten converting on third downs.
Yeah, that's what they do. They put themselves in good positions for third downs. I mean, that's a large part of that stat is what'd you do on downs 1 and 2? Did you not do anything and all of a sudden you're facing 3rd and 8? Or have you done something and you got 3rd and 2? Well, they put themselves in very good positions in third downs. And that'll be a key for Nebraska's defense tomorrow night. Can you get them off script a little bit? Can you make a negative play on 1st and 2nd down and put them in 3rd and long and make Hornibrook make a play? Because that's still the key to beating Wisconsin, is make the quarterback make plays to beat you. They don't want to do that, and as a defense, that's what you want to make him do. He didn't play great last week against Northwestern. In fact, I think most of the Wisconsin camp will say we didn't play all that well against the Wildcats, and yet you look up late in the game, and they were up 31-10. Now, credit the Cats. They came back and made it a game with a couple of fourth-quarter touchdowns. But this is a tremendous challenge for Nebraska tomorrow night, but I sure like the way the Black Shirts have played the last couple of weeks going into this game.
Defensively, Wisconsin's good as well. They only gave up 74 yards a game on the ground, and they're missing the entire season their team captain, their linebacker. Yeah,
Jackson, she got hurt in late fall, and then Obasi, their really good outside linebacker, is not playing for them right now either. But they've got a lot of depth there. Chris Orr, who missed a lot of last year, is back. TJ Edwards is a tremendous linebacker for them. They've got some guys off the edge who are making plays. It's just really sound. Jeff, they're remarkable to me as a program, and I just looked at the time that Nebraska's been in the Big Ten. They're on their 3rd head coach. Mm-hmm. They're on their 3rd defensive coordinator in the last 3 years, and yet the results, the production, the look, it's all the same. I don't know how they're doing that with all the changeover they've had on their coaching staffs, but they've got the formula figured out, and it's another solid Badger defense.
And they're going to be bringing it because they like to blitz, and they've already gotten to the quarterback 16 times this year.
Yeah, and 8 last week against Clayton Thorson and Northwestern. And Thorson's more mobile than Tanner Lee, and that's what scares you to death, that this will be a huge challenge for that offensive line for Nebraska. and it's going to be hard to move the football. And here's the one thing that I hope Nebraska goes into the game with the mindset of. You know your defense is playing well, so don't be afraid to punt. I mean, that's okay. If it's you got to punt, you got 3rd and long, Tannerly, do not force something in there, because that's what Wisconsin wants you to do, is to try to force something. They're going to pick you off, get a short field, and that's how they live. So just punt the ball. Punting will be fine tomorrow night in this game, because I don't expect a lot of points being put up on either side.
And Northwestern did have some success against them throwing the ball, the short ball, and ran up 24 points, which is the most that Wisconsin's given up this year. And so maybe you give what the defense gives you.
That's what you got to do. You just got to be patient, take your shot when you get it. Now, people around here this week have said, well, we just have to run the ball. Now, I don't know. I don't think that's the formula. I think you have to have some balance in your attack against Wisconsin. Yes, don't abandon the run. I mean, you have to mix it in there throughout the game. But I think if you just think you can drive at 80 yards against Wisconsin on the ground, you're playing into what they want you to do. You've got to mix it. You've got to be able to make some throws. And so Tanner Lee, when he has the ability to have some time, he's got to be accurate with the football like he was last week against Illinois.
And Husker fans have got to be happy this game is under the lights Saturday night at Memorial Stadium, where the Huskers have not lost in 20 straight.
How about that? Huskers have only lost 5 all-time under the lights at Memorial Stadium. There's a magic about the stadium. You've got the 97 team coming back to honor their 20th anniversary of winning the national championship. The place ought to be jumping for this game tomorrow night. Nebraska needs to use that to their advantage to try to pull off this upset over this top 10 team.
And here's the thing, Greg. It's been a mess at times this year, but here we are now going into the Wisconsin game with a chance to play for first place in the Big Ten West.
Huge game. Huge game. Nebraska's 2-0 in the league. If they could beat Wisconsin and pull the upset tomorrow night, they would be 3-0, only 6 games left, and a two-game lead over Wisconsin. I mean, this is a giant game tomorrow night. I think Husker Nation realizes that. Certainly both teams realize that. And so this is what we kind of have been waiting for. This kind of a night, this kind of an atmosphere. It's going to be fun. Can't wait for it to get here.